These things are incredibly delicious. Oh yeah, and delicate too. Ooh hoo 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 hoo. This hike, the Big Rocks Trail, starts at the Old Pass Road Trailhead. There are a couple of different access points here, and I'll show you around just in a minute, but just want to show you that though this is very busy, there are bicyclists, hikers, walkers, dog walkers, family, and everything on here. The Big Rocks Trail in this area is a great secret because there are huckleberries. Chances are you might not see a bear, but you never know, you got to be careful. But it's a beautiful hike with a couple of surprising little bonuses along it. In 50 feet, you come to the first junction. And the Black Canyon Trail's to the left, the Big Rock Trail's to the left, the Crater Trail's to the right, and the History Trail's to the left. This first junction ends up going all to the same place. If you go right, there's a footbridge momentarily. If you head straight, if you want to do a creek crossing, or if you straight and there's a left, there's a plywood covered bridge as well. But they all lead back to the sign. And to the right is a pressure treated 2x8 plank bridge. Definitely can carry a lot of weight. Then you come to the Black Canyon 2 junction, take a right, and the Big Rock Trail will appear in 200 feet. And in the area, you'll see the old mill works. When you come to the next junction, you'll see a sign to the right with the History Trail information. And then you intersect the Big Rock Trail here, which is straight. One challenge about hiking in the Teton Pass area are the lacework of trails. You can see all these junctions and this and that. But if you look for these signs put up by the Friends of Pathway, it's easy to navigate. So it's actually pretty hard to get lost, even though without the signs you would totally be lost, but those signs that have been put up are a real help, so you don't have to go wandering around. You can stay on the mission and wherever else you want to go. As soon as you come from the meadow area, you'll encounter a creek with a nice footbridge, and you'll simply go over it, and this is the Big Rocks Trail. There you go. Once you leave the creek and you walk about 75 to 100 yards, you encounter the first uphill that is so endemic of the Jackson Hole area. Come into this trail close to wheeled and motored vehicles. It's the Palisade Wilderness Study area. It's a little bit special, but you'll start seeing these big rocks as you begin hiking around that are quite unique. As you're hiking along the Big Rocks Trail, you'll encounter some big rocks. And you might look around at the location and think, well, where's the mountain? Where's the location where these rocks fell from? But this area was all glaciated, and big glaciers carry big rocks, and they get deposited. They're called erratics often, where just randomly in the forest, that doesn't make any sense, you'll see this multi-ton boulder just plopped in the middle of nowhere. So that's the whole point of the Big Rocks Trail, as you hike around from the, the Old Trail Road at the Teton Pass, the old road. If you choose the Big Rocks Trail 1, you'll see some really unique, crazy rocks that you might want to climb. And 2, thus far, no people. Not a lot of people think, oh, this is this isn't the Valley Trail, this isn't hiking Grand. But if you want relative solitude from people, this is pretty solid. You unfortunately cannot get away from the road sound. That's one tragedy of the experience. But aside from that, there was a sign that said beware of bears. So this is an active forest area, and it makes it a lot more interesting when you're hiking along the Big Rocks Trail. And you'll find more description about it in my Jackson Hole hiking guide. So it's a unique, beautiful, and as you can tell, uphill hike. That is downhill. We continue uphill, but this loop is well worth your time. As you hike around this big rock area too, if you have a modicum of climbing skill, not telling you to break your neck or wrist or whatever climbing a rock, but you can see just hopping up on this rock actually gives you quite a commanding view. And the rocks are so big that these conifers actually start to grow on them. It's pretty crazy. This granite boulder, I don't want to walk off the edge here, just doesn't make any sense in this landscape. Again, glaciated, pretty crazy, but as you can see here, just a few steps and you're up on this rock and you get a really great view of the surrounding forest that you're hiking on in a moment, and you can see the trail right there as it goes around. So it's actually really fun. So if you're with the kids or you're a little bit athletic and you're able to hop up on this rock, it was a super easy crawl, and even then, a few slips, no real big deal. It's well worth checking out. And as you walk up this trail, you might be focusing on the trail, and then you look right, and there's a huge, I wouldn't even call that a boulder. That's at least the size of a house, if not bigger. Let's go check this thing out, because this part is all smooth and scoured. Wow, this thing is crazy. And I'm standing up next to it, and it's easily 18 feet high from this side. And if we scramble down this side of the rock, gosh, this thing's nuts. This is cool. If you're a geology person, you might actually nerd out on this. It has a little sister baby rock, but this thing is big. That's like 25, 30 feet up there. I'm a climber, but I don't know about that, especially soling it with my hiking boots and not my climbing shoes, because I don't actually see any very easy routes up this thing, which makes it really interesting. Now, the little baby rock, maybe. It looks like there's a weakness over there to get up. But this thing, oh man. At the back of this little rock, it's easy to climb up this thing, no problem, to get a view. But that mega rock, that is another story. Now that I'm standing on the little boulder next to Mega Big Brother here, I've been looking around. Climbers actually use this boulder. Why do I know that? Because of this. This is a drilled anchor into this granite, which is pretty crazy. And this is one of the heaviest anchors I've ever seen, which is really nice, so that 3/8 inch bolt isn't spinning around. Whoever put this in did a good job. And just based on the direction that this is facing, I don't know why they only put one anchor in, but in any case, you can see down there, quite the drop, maybe 25 feet. It's pretty solid. I'll have to go down and look for a route. I definitely wouldn't free climb that, but that's just my skill. But man, this is really incredible. I figured there might have been a climber or two up here. So this marked rock next to the mega rock, check it out in the trail guide, the Jackson Hole hiking guide. But it's really pretty fun to wander around. I mean, you can get a commanding view of the forest. It's really cool. It's a little more exciting. But a little bit of climbing skill. Find your way in. Should you be able to identify plants very well, you might come across, if I can get it to focus, guess not, some huckleberries that the bears have missed. These things are incredibly delicious. Oh yeah, and delicate too. Ooh, hoo, 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 hoo. These huckleberries are incredible, super delicious. Make sure you're able to identify your berries because some are very toxic. Yeah. Oh, super, super tasty. Love huckleberries. I find them very rarely. Some people know where to go pick them, but I was sitting here eating another peanut butter and jelly sandwich when I looked across. Huckleberries! I almost threw my sandwich away, but then I realized they're only tiny little huckleberries. So that's one huge advantage of the Big Rock Trail. Not a lot of people passing by. You might actually find some edible berries. And unlike those tasty huckleberries, when the bears and the birds don't eat these, that's your cue not to eat them, trust me. And after some hiking, you will encounter the Lithium Trail. This is a mountain bike only trail, so you don't want to do any uphill travel because it's dangerous, because mountain bikers fly down here. And this is dedicated simply to them, which for both mountain bikers and hikers is nice because the Lithium Trail is great for mountain biking. It's not that exciting for hiking, unlike the Big Rock Trail, which has a lot of unique things. So when you come to this intersection, just look up and, well, nobody's going uphill on the Lithium Trail, but people might be bombing down, so just be very careful. But you will continue through the Big Rocks 1 junction and on to the next section. This is one thing I do, is I tighten up my boot laces and I pinch it and put my toe out when I'm going downhill, because there have been pack animals on this trail and they tend to knock off the corners of the trail. It's very easy to twist your ankle. And thus I tighten my laces non-normally, but it makes it so much easier, so when I do step in awkward holes like this, I don't wreck my ankles. And along the Big Rock Trail, you come to this little overlook here, about 35 feet over there is a great overlook into Black Canyon. It's a heavily treed area, but it's a nice little side jaunt here on a tiny spur as you begin making your way back down on the Big Rock Trail. In the counterclockwise or anti-clockwise direction that I'm taking, once you hit that little spur, that super short 10 meter or 35 foot spur to the view of Black Canyon, then you begin making your way down a series of switchbacks connect to the Black Canyon Trail, and then that brings you back to the original trailhead. That's why I usually go the other way. That way I hit the big rocks. I don't want to do the rest of this. I can just always go back and it's a fine hike. Otherwise, you go this way, it's a very long way to get to the big rocks, the whole point of the trail. And pretty quickly you come to Black Canyon 5, which is the multi-use trail. As you can see, it looks more like a highway in terms of trail parlance compared to the Big Rocks Trail. And you just sweep around here. You can see it's easy to follow, no chance of getting lost. When you come down off the Black Canyon Trail, you'll encounter sign number 4, and you're right here, so you've gone here, and very quickly you'll encounter the Lithium Trail, which is right over there. But oddly enough, this trail kind of does its own thing. I wouldn't say it's not officially marked, but there used to be a sign telling you what it is. Now you just have to pay attention. If you're deciding to do the clockwise trail on the Big Rocks, just go that way. And otherwise, that just takes you off into the forest. From Black Canyon 4, it's just a super short walk to Black Canyon 3. Do be aware that this is bicycle only downhill because you can't see. So there are plenty of trails to use. This is meant for bicyclists. You definitely don't want to enter that way. Instead, just continue on the Black Canyon Trail and connect right up there. As soon as you come over this footbridge, You'll be greeted with a trail junction that leads off into another area, but this one leads you right back to where you want to go with the Black Canyon Trail. And just like that, you will be back at this big intersection with the ruins of the logging operation in here. The Black Canyon Trail is there, access to the Big Rock is there, and some families coming and everything else. And just like that, you come to the end of your hike on the Big Rocks Trail at Teton Pass near the old pass roads. Definitely check the Big Rocks Trail out and other hiking areas out in my Jackson Hole hiking guide. I will put a link below for your convenience. If you found this video useful, please like and comment on the video. And if you found it very helpful, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy your hiking in the outdoors.